Right, I've seen many tutorials on fitting Rimpacts and rim impact protection systems from various different manufacturers. I'm going to do a how-to on the actual Rimpact system because there's a few details that I think are missed in a lot of the videos, and I've got a few tips to make things a lot easier. So watch the video and enjoy. Right, for getting the old tyre off the rim with a Rimpact in, again, start the valve. I've already let the air out of this one, but just to be sure, give it a push down, let the air out. Now, up here is the best place to start. And begin by breaking the bead off. You hear it pop there, and you can actually see it moving in from these lines. It pops in. Yeah, it's probably popped sufficiently. Right, now that you've been all the way around and broken the bead off, come up, away from the valve, opposite the valve probably is best. Stick a couple of tyre levers in and just put a bit of pressure on. Just work your way around to make sure it hasn't popped back onto the bead anywhere. Put pressure on the levers, there we go, that's popped. And you should be able to get your lever in and just pull, push around. There you go. You can see there's the fluid, the sealant and the Rimpact. And you can see here why you need to use the correct valves, because the Rimpact pushes down onto the valve, and an ordinary valve would seal with the sealant and the Rimpact pushing against it under pressure. So you've got to use the Rimpact valves. The Rimpact valve come with a hole in the side of the valve to let the air pass into the tyre and pass back out again, which is a critical thing, because when the valve is inside the rim, the Rimpact pushes down on top of it, and if you just use a normal valve, it will close the airway and you won't be able to let your tyre back down should you need to. So always use the correct valves. Fairly straightforward getting the Rimpact out. Just use your tyre lever, pull back the tyre, slot that in there and just lever the Rimpact up. Get your fingers under it. And pop it out from the tyre. And out it comes. There for a minute. Let's get this tyre off. Right, this tyre has quite a lot of sealant in because we've had a few problems with the front end, so I'll drain the sealant out and I'll be back in a second. Unboxing the new Fortis 30 rims. Right, fitting the rim tape. Begin just past the valve. I like to overlap at the valve, and then you put the valve through it and it secures both ends of the tape in and stops it from coming loose. So there's the valve hole. That's the tape. Pull nice and tight on the roll as you put the tape in, and make sure it's central when you pull down. And be sure to use the correct width of rim tape for the rims that you've got. And then overlap the tape, come back past where the valve hole is. holes there, tape comes to here, and then cut it off. Once the tape's on, take a tyre lever or something hard and run round just to ensure it's stuck on round the bead. Same on the other side. There we go, now ready to punch the hole through for the valve. I tend to use a round pointed tool like a pick that I've got here, or perhaps a small Phillips screwdriver. I found in the past if you use a knife to cut straight slits in it, you can end up with air passing through the ends of the slits, so try and use a round tool if you can. Then gently push the valve through the hole, try not to tear the tape. And take the O-ring, slide it on to the lock ring and screw that up, and push this down with your thumb as you're tightening the lock ring and the O-ring together. The O-ring forms a seal on the outside of the rim, and that's as important as anything else because you can get leakage around the outside of the valve if you don't. Just make sure that it's a nice tight fit on the rim tape and you've got a nice snug fit with the O-ring up against the rim on the outside, so there's no passage of air. What you'll need to do it the way I do it is a pair of these plastic clamps, and they basically act as an extra pair of hands. That and some tyre levers just to finish off. Another tip I find quite useful is to sort of pre-soak or pre-wet the Rimpact and the tyre with some sealant. It acts as a lubricant before it starts to go off and makes things go back in together a lot easier. Right, here we go, Rimpact in. So start here, lift the tyre, start to put the Rimpact in. A bit like fitting an inner tube, and then just work it in all the way around. There we go. When Rimpacts are new, they're a lot much tighter fit than that, but once they've been used, I've changed a couple of times, and I think once the sealant soaks into them, they become, I think they must expand or loosen up because they're a lot easier to fit second time round. But again, if you're fitting them for the first time and they're really tight, use a clamp, get it in so far and clamp the rim, and then you've got both hands free to work your way back round the other side. Start away from the valve, use your thumbs and push the bead in to start off with, and work your way around a little bit more if you can. Then put your clamp on to stop the tyre coming out the bead. And you can start to work your way around with the tyre lever, and make sure you keep pushing this in down all the time. Give yourself as much space as you can. And once again, it's made a lot easier if the thing is soaked in sealant. It acts as a lubricant and things slip in a lot easier. Right, clamp on this side. Put the clamp on over here. Come back to this side. Start to work it in. Now again, We'll have to work our way back around, I think, and start to think about putting it in the bead, off the bead. There we go. Again, some pressure on the tyre lever. Come back round again. Just make sure it's off the bead all the way. You can see by the lines on the tyre that that's started to lift its way out again. So what I want to do is back to here. Take the clamp off now, maybe. And when we're going for this part, you have to push this on, get off the bead, and it gives you so much slack in the tyre. You can then get another length on. Comes up easily. Right, sealant time. Should be just enough left in this pot now. 100ml. There we go. Last wee bit. Do with the thumbs. And that's the thing, you've got to make sure it's off the bead all the way around in that gap. So to blow these up, I use a compressor. I've tried many times with a regular pump, and it's quite hard work. So I've started using a compressor. So here goes. You hear it crack onto the bead when the pressure's up. There's one, there's two. There we go. Solid. Right, and then the thing to do is shut the valve and give it a spin over and leave it overnight once you've spun it, just to see if it's gone down or if there's any leaks. Quite often they do go down, but just keep blowing it up, and you should find after a few days of giving it a spin and blowing it up, keeping the pressure in, it will eventually seal.